The pan flute, or also known as panpipes, was a musical wind instrument first used by the ancient Greeks. Most commonly played by shepherds, the earliest use was in Cycladic islands in the 3rd millennium BCE, and representations of the instrument run right through the history of Greek art. Okay, so as for my pan flute, so I decided to go a simpler but kind of a easier and more kind of hands-on craft and cheaper design with the straws. So kind of with my instrument, I decided to kind of try to keep them pretty even. The intervals, there are a little bit of outliers on there, but we tried our best. But I mean, we got 6 different notes we can play. And then, so in the next video, I'm going to be playing you hot cross buns, so I will see you back then. So kind of also a little bit more about the design I went with. It was in order to keep it together and also kind of maintain the cheapness, I decided to go with the tape, just clear tape, so then it would just hold it together and kind of look more natural because they're clear straws. And then both ends are open, as you can see. And then some of my challenges I faced was I originally started with a different instrument, but that didn't go too well, so I kind of had to think of something on the fly, and the pan flute kind of fit that perfect. You can make it quickly, and you can make as many notes as you want. You just gotta vary the length of them. And so I would say kind of the most difficult thing with this instrument is because the straws are so skinny, trying to play each note, sometimes you have to pull it off a little bit to the side, and really kind of what one of the problems was trying to actually record it was trying to get to the right spot to where you're not just blowing into it, because it won't really make the sound you're trying to get. You kind of need to blow it at a certain angle, and you need to try to not blow every single one because you're not really trying to play that note. So that's what I would say was kind of one of the most difficult things when trying to perfect this pan flute. But it's been a pretty good experience. As for the analysis of my actual pan flute, using the oscilloscope, I used it to find the frequency, and then so in order to find the actual wavelength, I had to actually use this ruler and measure in inches, but then I converted over to meters, and because mine is a open tube on both ends, the actual fundamental frequency, it ends up, they starts and ends on an antinote, and it only actually is half a wave throughout the whole tube. So to get to a full wave, you have to multiply it by 2, and so that's how I found out the wavelength, and with the wavelength from there I could figure out the velocity. And so as for the velocity of the pan flute, the velocity seemed much higher than what our average 343 meters per second, if I'm not mistaken. My data was much higher, but so as for why that happened, with some research, I kind of concluded that it had a lot to do with how you actually blow into the instrument. So unlike, say, like a recorder or a flute, you don't blow straight through like it's like a dart or something. You have to blow on top. So that, first of all, how the actual air and sound waves get through it is a little bit different than how the other instruments would. And not really, kind of the material didn't really matter, it said. It was really kind of just how it actually moves through the tube was what caused the really change in the velocity of the sound wave. Also, to add on to my data, I would like to say, for specifically the length of the tubes, the longer you go, the longer the tube actually is, the deeper the sound, sorry, and then the shorter the tube, the higher the pitch. And so, based on what I found out, or based on my research, the shorter, like when for a shorter tube, the shorter the column of air, the faster the air actually vibrates. The faster the vibrations, the higher the pitch. So, like when the sound produced, it really depends on the amount of air in the tube. When the tube, say, if we have a tube in water, or I say we have a tube out of water, it contains more air, right? So the column of air is longer. So, but when the straw is in the water, the column of air, it will be shorter. And then as the column of air shortens, the pitch will rise. All right, and then here I have all my data points from the longest and lowest pitch tube to the highest and shortest tube, including the frequency, the period, wavelength, and the velocities of each one. And here's my dog at the end for having to listen to such a long video and dealing with me. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. And then here's my version of hot cross buns.